This is your tech news briefing for Friday, July 22nd. I'm Zoe Thomas for the Wall Street Journal. On Thursday, Amazon announced plans to buy One Life Healthcare, which operates a primary care practice under the name One Medical in major cities across the U.S. This is not Amazon's first foray into the medical space. In 2019, it launched Amazon Care. Originally, it was a service for Amazon employees in Washington state, and Amazon Care's telemedicine and urgent care health offering has slowly been expanding to employees of other companies. But this turn to medicine has been slow going for Amazon, with regulatory and other hurdles hobbling its typically speedy entrance into a sector. So why is the e-commerce giant so focused on entering the medical space? And how will this purchase help? Joining us to discuss this is our Amazon reporter, Sebastian Herrera. Hey, Sebastian, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Amazon already has Amazon Care. Now it's going to be buying One Life Healthcare, which has One Medical. Why is it interested in buying One Life Healthcare, and how does it fit into the medical offerings that Amazon already has?
Yeah, so Amazon Care really has only existed as a telehealth sort of urgent care service. It's really imagined as you can chat with someone online and they can send out a doctor, to a healthcare provider to your home, and also any medicine. And that's sort of been the limits of the service. And so with this purchase and getting One Medical, it gives into physical spaces because One Medical has more than 180 medical offices in the U.S. So that is already a big deal, getting those physical locations. And it also potentially helps them expand into something more than just sort of urgent care services, something that looks more like a primary care, long-term services, which is, I think, what any medical provider wants to get into. They don't just want those one-off visits, but those sort of long-term established relationships with patients. So this could potentially really boost that effort, and also just, get them more customers that they obviously need to expand. And so it's sort of those different things that come into play by purchasing One Medical.
I mean, that's what it means for Amazon. What about for patients? Will this change how patients get care, maybe immediately if they're a One Medical user, or overall, do we think there'll be kind of a big sea change in how we get offerings once Amazon decides to really get into the medical section?
I think at least initially, it won't change much. The One Medical CEO is still going to be there, and it's more like the Whole Foods relationship where it is going to be under Amazon, but it's supposed to be working sort of independently in a way. I think they're still figuring some of that stuff out, but it's not like Amazon's just totally taking over and rebranding the service and all of that. So I think for patients, initially, not much should change. Of course, that could evolve over time.
Okay, maybe we can dive in a little bit more to the reasoning behind it. So obviously they're hoping this deal works out for them, but why does Amazon, who everybody thinks of as kind of this e-commerce provider, maybe as a cloud provider, or, if you're a Prime subscriber, a video provider, why do they want to be a medical provider as well?
I think it has to deal with how big that industry is, and some people have referred to it as almost like a recession-proof sort of industry as well. And so Amazon, it's sort of looking for its next hit. It has AWS. Advertising really seems to be sort of like that potential next hit as well, if not already becoming a hit. And I think what Amazon has shown is that it's comfortable diving into different spaces, seeing how it goes. It's not afraid to take chances. And if it becomes a big deal for them, then great. Then they just sort of expand their horizon, are more, built for if there's a recession or if one business isn't doing it as good, this other business is doing great. And healthcare obviously is a potential to make a lot of money and just be the great connector to different services it already provides.
But providing healthcare has kind of its own unique hurdles, dealing with regulatory issues and privacy concerns. How does Amazon plan to deal with those challenges?
Yeah, I think those are the big questions out there right now, because with this purchase, they are potentially going to get a trove of data from One Medical and their customers and providers. There's already some buzz out there of regulatory concerns and how Amazon uses data. I think people get scared with any big company that sort of has a lot of data on its hand. I think Amazon would tell you right now they're still like a really small and new player in this space that's really big, old, hard to figure out, and success is by no means guaranteed. So I think there's definitely questions out there of how Amazon will use the data that it has, it being such a big company. Amazon is really good at gathering data and using it to its benefit and using it to expand and even using it in deal making and as leverage for other businesses.
And I assume the argument that they are still a new and smaller player in the medical space is also going to be their argument if regulators raise any antitrust concerns. We're a big player, but we're not that big in this industry.
Exactly. And that's an argument they've made in the past, like with retail. Every time that it's brought in front of them that they're this dominant player in e-commerce and retail, they sort of cite figures that, but if you compare us to global overall retail, including, physical locations, we're actually like really small. That's sort of their argument. But yeah, that's certainly a position that you could see them taking if they're not already taking right now.
All right, that's our reporter, Sebastian Herrera. Thanks so much for joining us, Sebastian.
Thank you.
And that's it for Tech News Briefing this week. Our producer is Julie Chang. We had editorial support from Scott Salloway. We had production assistance from Ariana Osperu. Our supervising producer is Chris Sinsley. Our executive producer is Kateri Yoakum. And I'm your host, Zoe Thomas. Thanks for listening and have a great weekend.